I'm Michael Bigattini, the Senior Product Consultant at Willow Park Wines and Spirits. I'm really honored to have the Brunello Consortium here tonight to share their amazing wares with us. We have 3 stores in Alberta and 1 store in Saskatchewan. Brunello, I think, is positioned really well in the Calgary market in particular. People in Calgary like premium things, and Brunello, without a doubt, is the best wine that comes out of Tuscany. And it is, and people love the great things, and people just love Brunellos in this market. A few years ago, when we hosted this, we expanded our Brunello section from about 18 SKUs to about 45 SKUs, and it remains at 45 to 50 SKUs in our main store here, and it does really, really well. It has its own section in our market, and people just love to drink Brunellos. People have wine cellars here, so they love to buy them and hold them and release them and drink them when it's time to have a special night. And I think Brunello is the best way to do that, because there's not a better food wine in the world.
Hi, my name's Shelley Betcher, and I'm the National Weekend Wine Columnist for CBC Radio in Canada. This was obviously a great honor to be here for the 2010 Brunello tastings today in Calgary, and it's a cold day, so it's nice to see so many people out, and the wines are absolutely tasting amazing. There's so much fruit there's so much expression going on in every wine, wherever they're from, but also at the same time, we're seeing great aging potential as well, and I think that's something that's really interesting. Tastings like this, I think, are very important. Consortium tastings like this are very important for Canada, because it is an opportunity, to meet the producers themselves, the winemakers themselves, but it's also a chance to get to try wines that we don't get to try in our market at such a level, to try so many of them at one time and really understand what a Brunello is all about. I think especially in Western Canada in the last few years, we've seen a huge demand for high-end wines, sort of that mid to high price range wines, sort of anything that would be anything that's $40 and above in our market here retail. But it will be interesting to see if that trend continues with oil prices being what they are, which is low. So we'll see whether or not that actually continues here. But I think as far as general wine knowledge amongst consumers, we're definitely seeing an increase in knowledge in general, and more interest in trying more specific wines from markets. It's not just somebody looking for, say, an Italian wine, which we would have seen 15, 20 years ago. Now they're coming in and they're very specifically looking for Brunello. They're very specifically looking for Moscato or something like that. Like they know what they're looking for when they come in. They're not just looking for one country in general. And I think that's been one of the interesting trends as far as what I'm seeing here.
I'm Dan Hertz. I write the Fine Wine Report and also head up gophervino.com. I've been asked to say a few words about Brunello wines. We're here in Calgary at the beautiful Ranchman's Club, tasting the 2010 vintage, which I like quite a bit. It's like most Brunello, very variable depending on where you are in the region. So if you go further south, it's much warmer, they harvest earlier, and they get much riper fruit. So the 2010 was quite a warm vintage, so the fruit has quite a plummy, earthier, riper tone down south. But if you go up north and you want a fresher style, more floral style of the Sangiovese, then you want to focus on in and around the town of Montalcino or further north or west of that. It's a good vintage. I like it sort of compared to 2008 in terms of the fruit having more richness, ripeness. 2009 was variable, but 2010 I think they've come back to a more riper style. The challenge is going to be in the south, where it does ripen, that we're getting hotter and hotter climate change. So can they keep the freshness? Some of the producers are saying that they're actually harvesting more fruit to try to make the fruit less plump, less ripe, in order to combat the heat. But it'll be interesting to see moving forward, as we have hotter and hotter vintages, how they're going to manage their vineyards in the south. I find that in the riper vintages, I'm really enjoying the fruit from the center of the region in and around the town of Montalcino or north of Montalcino, where you do get a lot of mineral, floral, almost this raspberry cherry talc, like a perfume quality to it. If you like riper, richer wines, then you're going to love the wines from further south, either southeast or southwest, where the fruit gets more coffee, more chocolate, more plum, prune, compote-like flavors. The challenge for Brunello, I think one thing that Brunello's done incredibly well is that they've marketed the region. So we just use the word Brunello, although I would encourage you to try Rosso wines, which is their lighter style, very fresh, very easy to drink. Often you can drink those before Brunello's ready, and they're great with meats, chicken, light meat, even tomato and pasta sauces. So definitely encourage you to try Rosso, even though you hear the word Brunello quite a bit. Also good on the pocketbook. Rossos are much less expensive. And then there's Sant'Antimo wines as well, which is regional wines from the area made from a blend of grapes that aren't allowed in Brunello itself. So you'll have Syrah, you'll have Cabernet Merlot, which they're producing some wonderful variety of wines that are very much in a forward-thinking climate. One of the things that Brunello's done well is marketed the region as a whole as Brunello. We know those wines, they're collectible, and that you can go on the shelf and you know that you're going to get quality, even though you get different variation from the different producers depending on where they grow. But what I would encourage people to do as the next step is to really look at these various areas, because geographically and geologically it's so varied. From the sea came in and deposited all these alluvial and marine sediment, and then the sea moved out. There's hills, the tectonic plates meet, and so you have all these regions with clay, with all this, with galestro, with more sand, more rock, and each one gives a unique expression to the fruit. I think that's what we don't see enough of with Brunello, is everybody thinks it's a generic sort of one area, and really it's all these microclimates of different taste styles. So if you like the riper fruit, look for something further south. If you like the more crisp floral fruit, look for something north. And there's old school producers, new school producers, there's something for everyone. It's really a terrific area, and we've seen in the past 20 years a great influx in Canada, and I think it's going to continue.
Ho assaggiato il Brunello 2010, io pensavo che era un vino molto pulito, molto sai, della frutta, ma della frutta che io penso fra un paio di anni uscirà ancora meglio. Sarebbe definitivamente un vino che io comprerò, perché io vedo che fra un paio di anni tutto quello che ho assaggiato io sarà qualcosa straordinario. Io penso che questo sarà un'annata come il 2004 o delle altre buone annate che noi abbiamo. Allora per me questo Brunello qui era veramente un Brunello che mi è piaciuto molto. È una struttura che è molto elegante e molto pulita.
Che tipo di consumatore canadese è quello che beve Brunello di Montalcino?
Sai, è una persona che ha un palato molto elegante, molto pulito, e che piace il mangiare, che un vino che va con il mangiare, che è una carne o qualcosa delicato. Non è un consumatore che è molto, come si dice, raffinato.
2010 vintage is obviously a step up from the 2009, but it shows a lot of promise, a lot of good qualities in the wine. I do believe that the 2010 vintage in Canada will be very successful as far as the sales point, and we look forward to seeing it in our market.
It's delicious and a lot of variety. It's been really fantastic.